So in this next example, we want to go through, again, solve and use the quadratic formula. And you really don't want to be working with fractions here. So at the outset, if we look at the 1/2 and 2/3, the least common denominator is 6. So before I'm going to do anything, I'm going to just go ahead and multiply both sides by 6. Just so we can clear out that fractions. So that gives us 2 into 6 is 3, so that's 3x squared. 3 into 6 goes 2, times 2 is 4, so that's 4x. 6 times 2 is 12, so it becomes a minus 12 equals 0. Now by doing that, I now have a much easier equation to work with. Here I can identify my a here is 3. My b here is 4. And c is negative 12. And then I'm just going to plug these into my quadratic formula. Here my a is 3. My b here is 4. And my c here is negative 12. Alright, so let's see if we can work on cleaning this up. So that's a negative 4 plus or minus. And let's grab the calculator for that part. That's 160 over 6. Now we can break down the square root of 160. You can think of 160 as 16 times 10. Square root of 16 is 4, so that becomes plus or minus 4 square root of 10 over 6. Now, if you enter that into Alex, it's not going to like that because it's not simplified. The 4's and the 6 have a common factor of 2, so let's factor out a 2. And I'm going to write that 6 is 2 times 3 on the bottom. And then those 2's are going to divide out. So my answers here are going to be 2 minus 2 square root of 10 over 3 and 2 plus 2 square root of 10 over 3. Now for number 6, before we do anything, we're going to need a FOIL and get 0 on one side. I cannot just set the 2x minus 3 equal to 5 and the 3x plus 1 equals to 5. That won't work. That only works if this was a 0 here. So unfortunately, we need to go through FOIL, bring the 5 over, and then simplify. So let's FOIL. And I'm going to do it up here. Product the first. That'd be 6x squared. Outer terms plus 2x. Inner terms, negative 9x. Last terms, negative 3. So that's going to give us 6x squared, combined like terms, minus 7x minus 3. Next, I need to subtract 5 from both sides. So that's going to give me 6x squared minus 7x minus 8 equals 0. All right, so now we're in business. I'm ready to use the quadratic formula. So here my a is the 6. B is this negative 7. C is negative 8. So let's work on simplifying this. This would be 7 plus or minus. Let's grab the calculator for that one. So we're going to have negative 7 squared minus 4 parentheses 6 parentheses negative 8. That gives us 241. All over 12. We can't break down 241, so that's our answer. All right, let's go ahead and try some additional exercises. So again, feel free to pause, try it out for yourself, and then hit play to see how we worked it out here. So again, I'm using the quadratic formula. Now there's a question that comes up on the test here is, and this kind of goes in general, if they don't tell me where to solve it by factoring or solving by the quadratic formula, which one should I use? And what I always tell students, if you have a choice of which one to use, quadratic formula is a more general formula. It will solve every problem. Solving by factoring only works if you're able to factor. So if you're looking at a problem, and let's say if you're doing on a quiz or test, and if you don't see how to factor it within the first 30 seconds to a minute, then just go and use the quadratic formula. So that would be my recommendation. So here a is 6, b is negative 12, c is negative 5. So that gives us x equals 12 plus or minus. Go ahead and pop that out on your calculator. That gives us 264. Over 12. 264, well, it's divisible by 4. So again, you can either do it by hand, or if you want to, you could just, if you have this calculator, just plug it in. Let the calculator do it for it. It's going to simplify to 2 times the square root of 66. So this means 12 plus or minus 2 square root is 66 over 12. We can factor out a 2 from both. So that's 6 plus or minus the square root of 66 inside the parentheses. And that 12 I'm going to write as 2 times 6. 2's drop out. That will give us 6 plus or minus, oops, I forgot the minus here, my bad. Square root of 66 over 2. Not over 2, let's try 6. Just see if you're paying attention. Okay, so my answers then are 6 minus square root of 66 all over 6, and 6 plus square root of 66 over 6. Keep in mind, I cannot cancel out that 6 with a 6. If I wanted to do that, I have to write it as separate terms. So if I did do that, then I can write that as 1 minus square root of 66 over 6, and 1 plus square root of 66 over 6. Let's try number 2. So number 2, our quadratic equation is not in the right form. So I need to go and get that y squared term on the other side. So I'm going to add 4y squared to both sides. So that will give us 4y squared plus 6y plus 3 equals 0. And now I'm ready to use the quadratic formula. So my a here is 4. B here is 6. C is 3. So this is going to simplify to a negative 6 plus or minus. And let's take care of that stuff underneath the square root. So that'd be a negative 12. So we get some imaginary and complex numbers here we're working with. Over 8. That's negative 6 plus or minus I square root of 12 over 8. And I need to break down the square root of 12, so you do it on your calculator or do it by hand. If we do it by hand, 12 is 4 times 3. I can take the square root of 4. So that's going to be equal to a negative 6 plus or minus 2i square root of 3 over 8. I can then go ahead and factor out a2. That's negative 3 plus or minus I square root of 3. 8 I'm going to write as 2 times 4. And so my 2's cancel. So now I'm going to write my answer a little more compactly. I think we've emphasized the point enough that these mean two different answers. So I'm just going to leave it in that compact notation. Partly because I'm running out of room here. So that'd be your answer. So again, when you're doing these, make sure everything is in the correct order. So the first step I want to do is put everything in order here. I want to do 50y squared plus 5y minus 6. That's got to be in the correct order, in order of descending powers. And now pull out your quadratic formula. I guess we need oh, my bad up here. These should have been y's because our variable is y. Got so used to the x's. Sorry about that. So make that correction. So these are going to be y's too. So I'm going to have the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. So if you still want to color code like we did the previous examples, feel free to do so. So this is negative 5 plus or minus. If you work this out on your calculator, you should get a big old number, 1,225 over 100. You can pause the video and just verify you get that. And you should be able to take the square root of 1,225. Go ahead and do that on a calculator. You're going to get 35. That means I'm going to be able to separate these out because I lost my square root. Again, if you need to see that, square root of 1225. Oops, sorry about that. Gives you 35. So I'm going to rewrite this as negative 5 minus 35 over 100, or negative 5 plus 35 over 100. So that gives me a negative 40 over 100, or 30 over 100. 40 over 100 reduces to 2/5, so that would be a negative 2/5. That's one of my answers. And the other one reduces to 3/10. And again, this would tell me that this is factorable. Though I'm not sure if I really want to factor that. And the last one here, we're going to need a FOIL. 3x times x is 3x squared. Outer terms will be a negative 12x. Inner terms would be a 2x. Last would be a negative 8. Combining like terms, we'll get 3x squared minus 10x minus 8 equals 10. And now I'll need to subtract 10 from both sides. So that gives us 3x squared minus 10x minus 18 equals 0. So now I've gotten the right form. I'm ready to use the quadratic formula. It's getting kind of a long one. So that's 10. And we got to work out what's underneath the square root. And I'll let you do on the calculator. That should give you 316. And you can break down 3/16 divisible by 4. It's 4 times 79. If I take the square root of 79, square root of 4, that gives me 2. So that'd be 10 plus or minus 2 square root of 79 over 6. And now I'm going to be able to reduce this by 2. So divide the 10 by 2, that's 5. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we'll just get the square root of 79. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And so that would be our answer.